Part I of Medeia. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Expatriate in Bangor, Maine. Medeia by Euripides. Translated by Arthur Sanders Way, 1847 to 1930. Part I. When the heroes who sailed in the ship Argo to bring home the Golden Fleece came to the land of Kolchis, they found that to win that treasure was a deed passing the might of mortal man, so terribly was it guarded by monsters magical, even fire-breathing bulls and an unsleeping dragon. But Aphrodite caused Medeia the sorceress, daughter of Aeetes, the king of the land, to love Jason their captain, so that by her magic he overcame the bulls and the dragon. Then Jason took the fleece, and Medeia withal, for that he had pledged him to wed her in the land of Greece. But as they fled, Absyrtus her brother pursued them with a host of war, yet by Medea's devising was he slain. So they came to the land of Iolcos and to Pelias, who held the kingdom which was Jason's of right. But Medeia by her magic wrought upon Pelias's daughters so that they slew their father. Yet by reason of men's horror of the deed might not Jason and Medeia abide in the land, and they came to Corinth. And there all men rejoiced for the coming of a hero so mighty in war, and a lady renowned for wisdom unearthly, for that Medeia was grandchild of the sun god. But after 10 years Creon the king of the land spake to Jason, saying, Lo, I will give thee my daughter to wife, and thou shalt reign after me, if thou wilt put away thy wife Medeia. But her and her 2 sons will I banish from the land. So Jason consented. And of this befell things strange and awful, which are told herein. Dramatis Personae. Nurse of Medea's children. Children's guardian. Note: Pedagogus, a trusted servant responsible for keeping the boys out of harm's way. He was present at their sports, accompanied them to and from school, and never let them be out of his sight. A similar institution is familiar to Englishmen resident in India. End note. Medeia, chorus of Corinthian ladies, Creon, king of Corinth, Jason, Aegeus, king of Athens, messenger, children of Medeia. The scene is in front of Jason's house at Corinth. Medeia. Enter Nurse of Medea's children. Nurse. Would God that Argos' hull had never flown Through those blue clashing rocks to Colchis land, Nor that in Pelion's glens had fallen ever The axe hewn pine, nor filled with oars the hands Of hero princes, who at Pelias' hest Quested the Golden Fleece. My mistress then, Medeia, to Iolcus' towers had sailed not With love for Jason thrilled through all her soul. Nor had on Pelias' daughter wrought to slay their sire, nor now in this Corinthian land Dwelt with her lord and children, gladdening by this her exile them whose land received her. Yea, and in all things serving Jason's weal, which is the chief salvation of the home, when wife stands not at variance with her lord. Now all is hatred, love is sickness stricken. For Jason, traitor to his babes and her, my mistress weddeth with a child of kings, daughter of Creon, ruler of the land. And slighted thus, Medeia, hapless wife, cries on the oaths, invokes that mightiest pledge of the right hand, and calls the gods to witness from Jason what requital she receives. Foodless she lies, her frame to griefs resigned, wasting in tears all those long weary hours since first she knew her outraged by her lord, never uplifting eye nor turning ever from earth her face. But like a rock or sea wave so hearkens she to friends that counsel her, saving at whiles when turning her white neck all to herself she wails her sire beloved, her land, her home, forsaking which she came hither with him who holds her now dishonoured. Now knows she, hapless, by affliction's teaching, how good is fatherland unforfeited. She loathes her babes, joys not beholding them. I fear her, lest some mischief she devise. Grim is her spirit, one that will not brook mishandling. Yea, I know her, and I dread lest through her heart she thrust the whetted knife through the hole, stealing silent to her bed, or slay the king and him that weds his child, and get herself therefrom some worse misfortune. For dangerous is she. Who begins a feud with her, not soon shall sing the triumph song. But lo, her boys, their racing sport put by, draw near, unwitting of their mother's ills, for the young heart loves not to brood in grief. Enter Children's Guardian with boys. Children's Guardian. O ancient chattel of my mistress' home, why at the gates thus lonely standest thou, thyself unto thyself discoursing ills? How wills Medeia to be left of thee? Nurse. O grey attendant of the sons of Jason, the hearts of faithful servants still are touched by ill betiding fortunes of their lords. For I have come to such a pass of grief, that yearning took me hitherward to come and tell to earth and heaven my lady's fortunes. Children's Guardian. Ceaseth not yet the hapless one from moan? Nurse. Cease? Her pain's scarce begun, the midst far off. Children's Guardian. Ah, fool, if one may say it of his lords, little she knoweth of the latest blow. Nurse. What is it, ancient? Grudge not thou to tell me. Children's Guardian. Nought. I repent me of the word that 'scaped me. Nurse. Nay, by thy beard, from fellow thrall hide not. Silence, if need be, will I keep thereof. Children's Guardian. I heard one saying, feigning not to hear, as I drew near the marble thrones where sit the ancients round Pyrene's hallowed fount, that Kreon, this land's lord, will shortly drive these boys from soil Corinthian with their mother. Howbeit, if the tale I heard be true, I know not. Fain were I it were not so. Nurse. Will Jason brook his children suffering this, what though he be estranged from their mother? Children's Guardian. The old ties in the race lag far behind the new. No friend is he unto this house. Nurse. We are undone then, if we add fresh ill to old, ere lighten be our ship of this. Children's Guardian. But thou, for 'tis not season that thy lady should know, keep silence, and speak not the tale. Nurse. Hear, babes, what father this is unto you. I curse him not, he is my master still, but to his friends he stands convict of baseness. Children's Guardian. What man is not? Hast learned this only now, that each man loves self better than his neighbour? For just cause some, and some for greed of gain. So for a bride's sake these their father loves not. Nurse. Pass in, dear children, for it shall be well. But thou, keep these apart to the uttermost. Bring them not nigh their mother angry souled. For late I saw her glare, as glares a bull on these, as 'twere for mischief. Nor her wrath, I know, shall cease, until its lightnings strike. To foes may she work ill, and not to friends. Medea behind the scenes. O hapless I! O miseries heaped on mine head! Ah me, ah me, would God I were dead! Nurse. Lo, darlings, the thing that I told you. Lo, the heart of your mother astir, and astir is her anger, withhold you from her sight, come not nigh unto her. Haste, get you within, oh, beware ye Of the thoughts as a wild beast brood, Of the nature too ruthless to spare ye In its desperate mood. Pass ye within now, departing with all speed. It is plain to discern how a cloud of lamenting, Upstarting from its viewless beginning, shall burn In lightnings of fury yet fiercer. What deed shall be dared of that soul, so haughty, when wrong's goads pierce her, so hard to control? [Exeunt Children with Guardian. Medea behind the scenes. Woe! I have suffered, have suffered foul wrongs that may waken mighty lamentings full well. O ye children accursed from the womb, hence to destruction, ye brood of a loathed one forsaken, forsaken! Hence with your father, and perish our home in the blackness of doom. Nurse. Ah me! In the father's offences what part have the babes, that thine hate should blast them? Forlorn innocences, how sorely I fear for your fate! Ah, princes! How fearful their moods are! Long ruling, unschooled to obey, Unforgiving, unsleeping their feuds are, Better life's level way. Be it mine, if in greatness I may not In quiet and peace to grow old, Sweeter name than the mean shall ye say not, But to taste it is sweetness untold. But to men never weal above measure Availed, on its perilous height The gods in their hour of displeasure The heavier smite. Enter Chorus of Corinthian Ladies. Chorus. I have hearkened the voice of the daughter of Colchis, the sound of the crying of the misery stricken, nor yet is she stilled. Now the tale of her tell, grey woman, for moan through the porch from her chamber the wail of her sighing. And I cannot be glad while the home in affliction is lying, the house I have loved so well. Nurse. Home? Home there is none, it hath vanished away, for my lord to a bride of the princes is thrall. And my lady is pining the livelong day In her bower, and for naught that her friends' lips say On her heart may the dews of comfort fall. Medea behind the scenes. Would God that the flame of the lightning from heaven descending, might burn through mine head! For in living wherein any more is my gain. Alas and alas! Would God I might bring to an ending, the life that I loathe, and behind me might cast all its burden of pain. Chorus. Strophe. O Zeus, Earth, Light, did ye hear her? How waileth the woe laden breath Of the pride in unhappiest plight? What yearning for vanished delight, O passion distraught, should have might To cause thee to wish death nearer, The ending of all things, death? Make thou not for this supplication. If thine husband hath turned and adored New love, that estranged he is, O harrow thy soul not for this. It is Zeus that shall right thee, I wis. Ah, pine not in overvexation of spirit, bewailing thy lord. Medea behind the scenes. O Lady of Justice, O Artemis Majesty, see it, O see it! Look on the wrongs that I suffer, my oaths everlasting, Who tied the soul of mine husband, that ne'er from the curse he might free it, Nor free it from your vengeance. Oh, may I behold him at last, even him and his bride. Them and these halls therewithal, all shattered in ruin, in ruin. Wretches, who dare unprovoked to do to Medea despite. O father, O city, whom erst I forsook For undoing, and for shame when the blood of my brother I spilt on the path of my flight. Nurse. Do ye hear what she saith, and uplifteth her cry Unto Themis and Zeus, to the suppliant's king, Oath steward of men that be born but to die? O my lady will lay not her anger by Soon, making her vengeance a little thing. Chorus. Antistrophe. If she would but come forth, where we wait her, If she would but give ear to the sound of our speech, That her spirit would learn from its fierceness of anger to turn, And her lust for revenge not burn. Oh, ne'er may my love prove traitor, Never false to my friends be it found. But go thou, and forth of the dwelling Thy mistress hitherward lead. Say to her that friends be we all. Oh, hasten, ere mischief befall The lords of the palace hall. For her grief, like a tempest upswelling, Resistless shall ruinward speed. Nurse. I will do it, but almost my spirit despaireth To win her, yet labour of love shall it be. But my queen on her thralls, as a mad bull glareth, Or a lioness couched mid her whelps, whoso dareth With speech to draw near her, so tameless is she. He should err not who named the old singers in singing Not cunning, but left handed bards, for their lays did they frame For the mirth tide, the festal inbringing Of the wine, and the feast, when the harp strings are ringing To sweeten with melody life's sweet days. But the dread doom of mortals, the anguish heart rending, Never minstrel by music hath breathed on them peace, Nor by song with his harp notes in harmony blending, Albeit of these cometh death's dark ending Unto many a home that is wrecked of these. And yet were it surely a boon to bring healing Of sorrow to mortals with song, but in vain mid the fulness of feasting Ring voices clear pealing, And the banquet itself hath a glamour concealing From mortals their doom, flinging spells over pain. [Exit Nurse. Chorus. I have heard it, the sigh laden cry of the daughter of Kolchis, the woe shrilling anguish of wailing for the traitor to love who with false vows caught her, who in strength of her wrongs chideth heaven, assailing the oath queen of Zeus, who with cords all prevailing forth haled her, and brought her o'er star litten water, where the brine mists hover over Pontus' quay, unto Hellas far over the boundless sea. Enter Medeia. Medea. Corinthian dames, I have come forth my doors, lest ye should blame me. Many folk I know accounted haughty, some for proud staid mien, some stranger shy, and some that softly go have gotten ill repute of indolence. For justice sits not in the eyes of man, who, ere he hath discerned his neighbour's heart, hates him at sight, albeit nowise wronged. The sojourner must learn the city's wont. Nor praise I citizens born, law to themselves, mannerless churls which flout their fellow folk, but me. Unlooked for fell this blow on me, and brake mine heart. Undone I am, have lost all grace of life, and long to die, my friends. For he that was mine all, thou knowst it well, my lord of all men basest hath become, surely, of creatures that have life and wit. We women are of all things wretchedest, who first must needs, as buys the highest bidder, thus buy a husband, and our body's master so win. For deeper depth of ill is this. Nay, risk is dire herein. Or shall we gain an evil lord or good? For change is shame to woman, nor may she renounce her spouse. And coming to new customs, habits new, seer needs she be, to know the thing unlearned, what manner of man her couch's mate shall be. But if we learn our lesson, if our lord dwell with us, plunging not against the yoke, happy our lot. If not, no help but death. For the man when at home they fret his soul, goes forth and stays his loathing heart's disgust, unto a friend or age mate turning him. We have but one heart to seek for comfort. But we, say they, live an unperilled life at home, while they do battle with the spear. Falsely they deem. Twice would I under shield stand, rather than bear childbirth peril once. Yet thee and me the selfsame reasons touch not. Thine is this city, thine a father's home, hast bliss of life and fellowship of friends. But I, lone, cityless, and outraged thus of him who kidnapped me from foreign shores, mother nor brother have I, kinsman none, for port of refuge from calamity. Wherefore I fain would win of thee this boon. If any path be found me, or device, whereby to avenge these wrongs upon mine husband, on her who weds, on him who gives the bride, keep silence. Woman quails at every peril, faint heart to face the fray and look on steel. But when in wedlock rights she suffers wrong, no spirit more bloodthirsty shall be found. Chorus. This will I, for 'tis just that thou, Medea, requite thy lord. No marvel thou dost grieve. But I see Kreon, ruler of this land, advancing, herald of some new decree. Enter Kreon. Kreon. Thee, the black lowering, wroth against thy lord, Medea, bid I forth this land to fare in exile, taking thy 2 sons with thee. And make no tarrying. Daysman of this cause am I, and homeward go I not again ere from the land's bounds I have cast thee forth. Medea. Ah me! Undone am I, in utter ruin. My foes crowd sail pursuing, landing place is none from surges of calamity. Yet how so wronged? One question will I ask: for what cause, Kreon, dost thou banish me? Kreon. I fear thee. Need is none to cloak my words, lest on my child thou wreak some ill past cure. And to this dread do many things conspire. Wise art thou, cunning in much evil lore. Chafed art thou, of thine husband's couch bereft. I hear thou threatenest, so they bring me word, to wreak on sire, on bridegroom, and on bride mischief. I guard mine head ere falls the blow. Better be hated, woman, now of thee, than once relent, and sorely groan too late. Medea. Not now first, Kreon. Many a time ere now rumour hath wronged and wrought me grievous harm. Ne'er should the man, whose heart is sound of wit, let teach his sons more wisdom than the herd. They are burdened with unprofitable lore, and spite and envy of other folk they earn. For if thou bring strange wisdom unto dullards, useless shalt thou be counted, and not wise. And, grant thy name o'ertop the self-extolled wits, in the city odious shalt thou be. Myself too in this fortune am partaker. Of some my wisdom wins me jealousy. Some count me idle, some o'erbusy, some unsocial, yet not overwise am I. And thou fear'st me lest I mar thy music. Not such am I. O Kreon, dread not me, that against princes I should dare transgress. How hast thou wronged me? Thou hast given thy child to whomso pleased thee. But I hate mine husband, and doubtless this in prudence hast thou done. Nay, but I grudge not thy prosperity. Wed ye and prosper. But in this your land still let me dwell, for I, how wronged soe'er, will hold my peace, o'ermastered by the strong. Kreon. Soft words to hear, but lurks mine heart within dread lest thou plottest mischief all the while. And all the less I trust thee than before. The vehement hearted woman, yea, or man, is easier watched for than the silent cunning. But forth with all speed, plead me pleadings none. For this is stablished: no device hast thou to bide with us, who art a foe to me. Medea. Nay, by thy knees, and by the bride thy child. Kreon. Thou wastest words, thou never shalt prevail. Medea. Wilt drive me forth, respecting naught my prayers? Kreon. Ay, more I love not thee than mine own house. Medea. Oh, how shall I call thee now to mind, my country? Kreon. Ay, dear to me is Corinth, next my children. Medea. Alas, to mortals what a curse is love! Kreon. Blessing or curse, I trow, as fortune falls. Medea. Zeus, may the cause of this 'scape not thy ken. Kreon. Hence, passionate fool, and rid me of my trouble. Medea. Troubled am I, nor need I troubles new. Kreon. Soon shalt thou be by servants' hands thrust out. Medea. Nay, nay, not this, O Kreon, I beseech thee. Kreon. A coil thou wilt make, woman, as it seems. Medea. I will flee forth, not this the boon I crave. Kreon. Why restive then? Why rid not Corinth of thee? Medea. Suffer me yet to tarry this one day, and somewhat for our exile to take thought, and find my babes a refuge, since their sire cares naught to make provision for his sons. Compassionate these. A father too art thou of children. Meet it is thou show these grace. Not for myself I fret, if I be banished: for them in their calamity I mourn. Kreon. My spirit least of all is tyrannous. Many a plan have my relentings marred. And, woman, now I know I err herein, yet shalt thou win this boon. But I forewarn thee, if thee the approaching sun god's torch behold within this country's confines with thy sons, thou diest. The word is said that shall not lie. Now, if remain thou must, remain one day, too short for thee to do the deeds I dread. [Exit. Chorus. O hapless thou! Woe's me for thy misery, woe for the trouble and anguish that meet thee! Whitherward wilt thou turn thee? What welcoming hand mid the strangers shall greet thee? What home or what land to receive thee, deliverance from evils to give thee, wilt thou find for thee now? How mid surge of despair to o'erwhelm thee in ruin God's hand on thine helm hath steered, O Medea, thy prow. Medea. 'Tis ill done every way, who shall gainsay? Yet nowise ill in this. Deem not so yet. Bridegroom and bride grim conflicts yet await, nor troubles light abide these marriage makers. Think'st thou that I had cringed to yon man ever, except to gain some gain or work some wile? Nor word nor touch of hand had I vouchsafed him. But to such height of folly hath he come, that when he might forestall mine every plot By banishment, this day of grace he grants me, to stay, wherein 3 foes will I lay dead, the father, and the daughter, and mine husband. And, having for them many paths of death, which first to take in hand I know not, friends. whether to set the bridal bower aflame, or through the heart to thrust the whetted knife, through yon halls stealing silent to their couch. Yet one thing bars the way. If I be found crossing the threshold of the house and plotting, die shall I, and make mirth unto my foes. Best the straight path, wherein my nature's cunning excels, by poisons to destroy them. Yea, now grant them dead, what city will receive me? What host vouchsafe a land of refuge, home secure, and from the avenger shield my life? There is none. Tarrying then a little space, if any tower of safety shall appear, these deaths by guile and silence will I compass. But if misfortune drive me desperate forth, myself will grip the sword, yea, though I die, and slay, and dare the strong hand's reckless deed. For by the Queen of Night, whom I revere above all, and for fellow worker chose, Hecate, dweller of mine hearth's dark shrine, not one shall vex my soul and rue it not. Bitter and woeful bridal will I give them, bitter troth plight and banishing of me. Up then, spare naught of all thy sorcery lore, Medeia, of thy plotting and contriving, on to the dread deed. Now is need of daring. Look on my wrongs. Thou must not make derision for sons of Sisyphus, for Jason's bride, thou, sprung from royal father, from the sun. Thou know'st means. Yea, our woman nature 'tis, say they, to be most helpless for all good, but fashioners most cunning of all ill. Chorus. Strophe I. Upward, aback, to their fountains the sacred rivers are stealing. Justice is turned to injustice, the order of old to confusion. The thoughts of the hearts of men are treachery wholly, and reeling From its ancient foundations, the faith of the gods is become a delusion. Changes and changes, the voice of the people shall crown me with honour. My life shall be sunlit with glory. For woman, the old time story is ended. The slanders hoary no more shall as chains be upon her. Antistrophe I. And the strains of the singers of old generations for shame shall falter, which sang evermore of the treason of woman, her faithlessness ever. Alas that our lips are not touched with the fire of song from the altar of Phoebus the harper king, of the inspiration giver. Else had I lifted my voice in challenge of song high ringing unto men. For the roll of the ages shall find for the poet sages proud woman themes for their pages, heroines worthy their singing. Strophe II. But thou from the ancient home didst sail over leagues of foam, on sped by a frenzied heart, and the sea gates saw us dispart. The twin rocks. Now in the land of the stranger thy doom is to waken to a widowed couch, and forsaken of thy lord, in woe overtaken, to be cast forth shamed and banned. Antistrophe II. Disannulled is the spell of the oath. No shame for the broken troth In Hellas the wide doth remain, but heavenward its flight hath it ta'en. No home of a father hast thou for thine haven when trouble storms lower. Usurped is thy bridal bower of another in pride of her power, ill starred, overqueening thee now. End of Part I. Of Medeia. Recording by Expatriate in Bangor, Maine. Part II. Of Medeia by Euripides. Translated by Arthur Sanders Way, 1847 1930. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Expatriate in Bangor, Maine. Part II. Enter Jason. Jason. Not now first, nay, but ofttimes have I marked what desperate mischief is a froward spirit. For in this land, this home, when thou mayst stay Bearing unfractiously thy ruler's pleasure, Banished thou art for wild and whirling words. Me they vex not, cease never, an thou wilt, Clamouring, Jason is of men most base. But for thy words against thy ruler spoken, Count it all gain, mere exile punishing thee. For me, still strove I to appease the wrath Of kings incensed : fain would I thou shouldst stay. But thou rein'st not thy folly, speaking still Evil of dignities : art therefore banished. Yet for all this, not wearied of my friends, With so much forethought come I for thee, lady. that banished with thy babes thou lack not gold, nor aught beside. Full many an ill is brought in exile's train. Yea, though thou hatest me, ne'er can I harbour evil thought of thee. Medea. Caitiff of caitiffs, blackest of reproaches my tongue for thine unmanliness can frame. Thou com'st to me, thou com'st, most hateful proved to heaven, to me, to all the race of men? This is not daring, no, nor courage this, to wrong thy friends and blench not from their eyes, but of all plagues infecting men the worst, even shamelessness. And yet 'tis well thou cam'st, for I shall ease the burden of mine heart, reviling thee, and thou be galled to hear. And with the first things first will I begin. I saved thee, as they know, what Greeks soe'er entered with thee the selfsame Argo's hull, thee, sent to quell the flame outbreathing bulls with yoke bands, and to sow the tilth of death. The dragon, warder of the fleece of gold, that sleepless kept it with his manifold coils, I slew, and raised deliverance light for thee. Myself forsook my father and mine home, and to Iolcus under Pelion came, with thee, more zealous in thy cause than wise. And Pelias slew by his own children's hands, of all deaths worst, so cast out all thy fear. And thus of me, basest of men, entreated, for a new bride hast thou forsaken me, though I had borne thee children. Wert thou childless, not past forgiving were this marriage craving. But faith of oaths hath vanished. I know not whether thou deem'st the olden gods yet rule, or that new laws are now ordained for men. For thine heart speaks thee unto me forsworn. Out on this right hand, which thou oft wouldst clasp! These knees, how vainly have we been embraced by a base man, thus frustrate of our hopes! Come, as a friend will I commune with thee, yet what fair dealing should I hope from thee? Yet will I, questioned, baser shalt thou show. Now whither turn I? To my father's house, which with my country I for thee cast off? To Pelias' hapless daughters? Graciously their father's slayer would they welcome home. For thus it is, a foe am I become to mine own house, whom I should ne'er have harmed, for grace to thee I made mine enemies. So then midst Hellas' daughters hast thou made me blest in return for all. In thee have I, O wretched I, a wondrous spouse and leal. If from the land cast forth I pass to exile, forlorn of friends, alone with children lone. A proud reproach for our new bridegroom this, in poverty thy babes, thy saviour, wander. O Zeus, ah, wherefore hast thou given to men plain signs for gold which is but counterfeit? But no assay mark nature graven shows on man's form, to discern the base withal. Chorus. Awful is wrath, and past all balm of healing, when they that once loved clash in feud of hate. Jason. Needs must I be not ill at speech, meseems, but like the careful helmsman of a ship, with close reefed canvas run before the gale. Woman, of thy tempestuous railing tongue, I, for thy kindness tower high thou pilest, deem Cypris saviour of my voyaging, her, and none other or of gods or men. A subtle wit thou hast. What need to force me to tell the tale, how love by strong compulsion of shafts unerring made thee save my life? Yet take I not account too strict thereof. For in that thou didst save me thou didst well. Howbeit more hast thou received than given of this my safety, as my words shall prove. First then, in Hellas dwell'st thou in the stead of land barbaric, knowest justice, learnest to live by law without respect of force. And all the Greeks have heard thy wisdom's fame. Renown is thine, but if on earth fair born thou dwellest yet, thou hadst not lived in story. Now mine be neither gold mine halls within, nor sweeter song be mine than Orpheus sang. If my fair fortune be to fame unknown, thus far of my great labours have I spoken, since thou flung'st down this challenge to dispute. But for thy railings on my royal marriage, herein will I show first that wise I was, then temperate, third, to thee the best of friends, and to my children. Nay, but hear me out. When I came hither from Iolcus land, with many a desperate fortune in my train, what happier treasure trove could I have found than to wed, I, an exile with a princess, not, where it galls thee, loathing couch of thine, and for a new bride smitten with desire, nor eager I to multiply mine offspring: suffice these born to me, no fault in them. But that we might with honour live, grave import, and be not straitened, for I know full well how all friends from the poor man stand aloof. And I might nurture, as beseems mine house, our sons, and to these born of thee beget brethren, and, knitting in one family all, live happy days. Thou, what wouldst thou of children? But me it profits, through sons to be born to help the living. Have I planned so ill? Not thou wouldst say it, but the lost couch galls thee. But ye women, so unreasoning are, that wedlock rights unmarred ye count all well. But to the couch, if aught untoward hap, with the best, fairest lot are ye at feud most bitter. Would that mortals otherwise could get them babes, that womankind were not, and so no curse had lighted upon men. Chorus. Words, Jason, words, tricked out full cunningly. Yet to me, though I speak not to thy mind, unjust thou seem'st, betraying thus thy wife. Medea. Of many things I think not as think many. For in my sight the villain subtle tongued getteth himself for gain exceeding loss, who, confident his tongue can gloze the wrong, becomes a bold knave. No great wisdom this. So be not thou as touching me, fair seeming and crafty tongued. One word shall overthrow thee. Thou shouldest, if not base, have wed this bride with my consent, not hid it from thy friends. Jason. Ay, nobly hadst thou helped in this my purpose, had I a marriage named, who even now canst not refrain thy heart's exceeding wrath. Medea. Not this thine hindrance, but the alien wife no crown of honour was as eld drew on. Jason. Now know this well, not for the woman's sake I wed the royal bride whom I have won, but, as I said, of my desire to save thee, and beget seed royal to my sons' brethren, and for mine house a tower of strength. Medea. No prosperous life 'neath sorrow's cloud for me, nor weal with thorns of conscience in mine heart. Jason. Know'st how to change thy prayer, and show the wiser? May thy good never seem to thee thy sorrow, nor in fair fortune deem thy lot misfortune. Medea. O yea, insult! Thou hast a refuge, thou! But desolate I am banished from this land. Jason. Thyself hast chosen this, none other blame. Medea. I? Sooth, by wedding and betraying thee. Jason. By cursing princes with an impious curse. Medea. Even so, and thus am cursing now thine house. Jason. With thee no more I wrangle touching this. But if, or for the children or thyself, for help in exile thou wilt take my gold, speak. Ready am I to give, with hand ungrudging, and send guest tokens which shall find thee friends. If this thou wilt not, foolish shalt thou be. Refrain wrath, and advantaged shalt thou be. Medea. Thy friends? Nothing will I of friends of thine. No whit will I receive, nor offer thou. No profit is there in a villain's gifts. Jason. In any wise I call the gods to witness that all help would I give thee and thy sons. But thy good likes thee not, thy stubborn pride spurns friends. I the more thy grief shall therefore be. Medea. Away! Impatience for the bride new trap consumes thee while thou loiterest at the doors. Wed, for perchance, and God shall speed the word, thine shall be bridal thou wouldst fain renounce. [Exit Jason. Chorus. Strophe I. Love bringeth nor glory nor honour to men when it cometh restraining not its unscanted excess. But if Kypris in measure raining her joy cometh down, there is none other goddess so winsome as she. Not upon me, O queen, do thou aim from thy bow all golden the arrow desire envenomed that none may avoid, not on me. Antistrophe I. But let temperance shield me, the fairest of gifts of the gods ever living, nor ever with passion of jarring contention, nor feuds unforgiving. In her terrors may Love's queen visit me, smiting with maddened unrest, For a couch mismated my soul, but the peace of the bride bed be holden in honour of her, and her keen eyes choose for us bonds that be best. Strophe 2. O fatherland, O mine home, not mine be the exile's doom. Into poverty's pathways hard to be trod may my feet not be guided. Most piteous anguish were this. By death, O by death, ere then may the conflict of life be decided, ended be life's little day. To be thus from the homeland divided, no pang more bitter there is. Antistrophe 2. We have seen, and it needeth naught that of others herein we be taught. For thee not a city, for thee not a friend hath compassionated when affliction most awful is thine. But he who regardeth not friends, accursed may he perish, and hated, who opes not his heart with sincerity's key to the hapless fated. Never such shall be friend of mine. Enter Aigeus. Aigeus. Medeia, hail! For fairer greeting word none knoweth to accost his friends withal. Medea. All hail thou also, wise Pandion's son, Aigeus. Whence art thou journeying through this land? Aigeus. Leaving the ancient oracle of Phoebus. Medea. Why didst thou fare to earth's prophetic navel? Aigeus. To ask how seed of children might be mine. Medea. 'Fore heaven! Aye, childless is thy life till now? Aigeus. Childless I am, by chance of some god's will. Medea. This with a wife, or knowing not the couch? Aigeus. Nay, not unyoked to wedlock's bed am I. Medea. Now what to thee spake Phoebus touching issue? Aigeus. Deep words of wisdom not for man to interpret. Medea. Without sin might I know the god's reply? Aigeus. O yea, good sooth, it needs the wise heart most. Medea. What said he? Say, if sin be not to hear. Aigeus. The wineskin's prominent foot I should not loose. Medea. Till thou shouldst do what thing, or reach what land? Aigeus. Till to the hearth ancestral back I came. Medea. And thou, what wouldst thou sailing to this shore? Aigeus. There is one Pythius, king of Trezon he. Medea. A man most pious, Pelops' son, they say. Aigeus. To him the gods' response I fain would tell. Medea. Yea, a wise man, and having skill herein. Aigeus. Yea, and my best beloved spear ally. Medea. Now prosper thou, and win thine heart's desire. Aigeus. Why droops thine eye? Why this wan wasted hue? Medea. Aigeus, of all men basest is mine husband. Aigeus. What sayst thou? Clearly tell me thine heart's pain. Medea. He wrongs me. Jason, nothing wronged of me. Aigeus. What hath he done? More plainly tell it out. Medea. Another wife he takes, his household's mistress. Aigeus. Ha! Hath he dared in truth this basest deed? Medea. Yea, I am now dishonoured, once beloved. Aigeus. Another love was this, or hate of thee? Medea. Love? Yea, of the highest, traitor he to love. Aigeus. Away with him, if he be base as this. Medea. His love was for affinity with princes. Aigeus. Who giveth him his daughter? End the tale. Medea. Creon, who ruleth this Corinthian land. Aigeus. Sooth, lady, reason was that thou shouldst grieve. Medea. 'Tis death to me, yea, also am I banished. Aigeus. Of whom? A new ill this thou namest is. Medea. Creon from Corinth driveth me in exile. Aigeus. Doth Jason suffer this? I praise it not. Medea. In pretence no, but to stand firm not he. But I beseech thee, touching this thy beard, clasping thy knees, and so become thy suppliant, pity, oh pity me the evil starred, and see me not cast forth to homelessness. Receive to a hearth place in thy land and homes. So by heaven's blessing fruitful be thy love in children, and in death thyself be blessed. Thou know'st not what good fortune thou hast found. For I will end thy childlessness, will cause thy seed to grow to sons. Such drugs I know. Aigeus. For many causes am I minded, lady, this grace to grant thee. For the gods' sake first, then for the seed of children thou dost promise, for herein wholly extinct is Aigeus' name. But thus it is: if to my land thou come, I thy defence essay in bounds of justice. Howbeit of this do I forewarn thee, lady, from this land will I not consent to lead thee. But if thou reachest of thyself mine homes, safe shalt thou bide. To no man will I yield thee. But from this land thou must thyself escape, for blameless will I be to allies too. Medea. So be it. Yet were oath pledge given for this to me, then had I all I would of thee. Aigeus. Ha! Dost not trust me, or at what dost stumble? Medea. I trust thee, but my foes are Pelias' house and Kreon. Oath bound, thou couldst never yield me to these, when they would drag me from the land. Hadst thou but promised to the gods unpledged, thou mightest turn their friend, mightst lightly yield to herald summons. Strengthless is my cause, wealth is on their side in a princely house. Aigeus. Foresight exceeding, lady, in thy words. Yet if this be thy will, I draw not back, since for myself is this the safest course, to have a plea to show unto thy friends. And surer is thy part. The oath god's name. Medea. Swear by earth's plain, and by my father's father the sun, and join the gods' whole race thereto. Aigeus. That I will do or not do. What? Say on. Medea. That from thy land thyself wilt never cast me, nor if a foe of mine would hale me thence, wilt, while thou livest, consenting yield me up. Aigeus. By earth, the sun's pure majesty, and all the gods, I swear to abide by this thou hast said. Medea. Enough. For broken troth, what penalty? Aigeus. Whatso befalleth god despising men. Medea. Pass on thy way rejoicing. All is well. I too will come with all speed to thy burg, when mine intent is wrought, my wish attained. [Exit Aigeus. Chorus. Now the scion of Maia, the wayfarer's king, bring thee safe to thine home, and the dream of thine heart, the sweet visions that wing thy feet, mayst thou bring to accomplishment, Aigeus, for now this thing has taught me how noble thou art. Medea. Zeus, Justice, child of Zeus, and light of the sun, over my foes triumphant now, my friends, shall we become. Our feet are on the path. Now is there hope of vengeance on my foes, for this man, there where lay my chiefest weakness, hath for my plots a haven in storm appeared. To him my bark's stern hawser make I fast, to palace, burg, and fortress when I go. And all my plots to thee now will I tell. Nor look I that my words should pleasure thee. One of mine household will I send to Jason, and will entreat him to my sight to come. And soft words, when he cometh, will I speak, saying, Thy will is mine, and it is well. How that his royal marriage, my betrayal, is our advantage, and right well devised. I will petition that my sons may stay. Not for that I would leave on hostile soil children of mine for foes to trample on, but the king's daughter so by guile to slay. For I will send them bearing gifts in hand unto the bride, that they may not be banished, a robe fine spun, a golden diadem. If she receive and don mine ornaments, die shall she wretchedly, and all who touch her. With drugs so dread will I anoint my gifts. Howbeit here I pass this story by, and wail the deed that yet for me remains to bring to pass. For I will slay my children, yea, mine. No man shall pluck them from mine hand. Then, having brought all Jason's house to wrack, I leave the land, fleeing my dear babes' blood, and having dared a deed most impious. For unendurable are mocks of foes. Let all go. What is life to me? Nor country nor home have I, nor refuge from mine ills. Then erred I in the day when I forsook my father's halls, by yon Greek's words beguiled, who with God's help shall render me requital. For never living shall he see hereafter the sons I bare him, nor shall he beget of his new bride a son, for doomed is she, wretch, to die wretchedly by drugs of mine. Let none account me impotent, nor weak, nor meek of spirit, nay, in other sort, grim to my foes, and kindly to my friends, for of such is the life most glorious. Chorus. Since thou hast made me partner of this tale, wishing to help thee, championing withal the laws of men, I say, do thou not this. Medea. It cannot be but so. Yet reason is that thou say this, who art not wronged as I. Chorus. Woman, wilt have the heart to slay thy sons? Medea. Yea, so mine husband's heart shall most be wrung. Chorus. But thou of wives most wretched shouldst become. Medea. So be it. Wasted are all hindering words. But ho! (to the nurse) Go thou and Jason bring to me, thou whom I use for every deed of trust, and look thou tell none aught of mine intent, if thine is loyal service, thou a woman. [Exit Medea and Nurse. Chorus. Strophe I. Oh, happy the race in the ages olden Of Erechtheus, the seed of the blest gods' line, In a land unravaged, peace enfolden, Aye quaffing of wisdom's glorious wine, Ever through air clear shining brightly As on wings uplifted, pacing lightly, Where they tell how Harmonia, of tresses golden, Bare the Pierid Muses, the stainless nine. Antistrophe I. And the streams of Cephisus, the lovely flowing, They tell how the Lady of Cyprus drew, And in zephyr wafts of the winds sweet blowing Breathe far over the land their dew. And she sendeth her loves, which, throned in glory By wisdom, fashion all virtue's story, Over her tresses throwing Roses and odorous wreaths aye new. Re enter Medea. Strophe II. How then should the hallowed city, the city of sacred waters, Which shields with her guardian hand all friends that would fare through her land, Receive a murderous band, who had slaughtered her babes without pity, A pollution amidst of her daughters? In thine heart's thought set it before thee, to murder the fruit of thy womb? Oh, think what it meaneth to slay thy sons, what a deed this day thou wouldst do! By thy knees we pray, by heaven and earth we implore thee, Deal not to thy babes such a doom. Antistrophe II. O whence, and O whence wilt thou gain thee such desperate hardihood, That for spirit so fiendish shall serve, That shall strengthen thine heart, that shall nerve thine hand, That it shall not swerve from the ruthless deed That shall stain thee with horror of children's blood? Oh, how, when thine eyes thou art turning on thy little ones, Wilt thou refrain the motherhood in thee, to feel No upwelling of tears? Canst thou steel thy breast when thy children kneel, To crimson thine hand with unyearning heart for thy darlings slain? Enter Jason. Jason. Summoned I come, for though thou be my foe, This grace thou shalt not miss. But I will hear what new thing, lady, thou dost wish of me. Medea. Jason, I ask thee to forgive the words late spoken, And to bear with that my mood. Well mayst thou, for remembrance of old loves, Now have I called myself to account, and railed Upon myself. Wretch, wherefore am I mad? And wherefore rage against good counsellors, And am in feud with rulers of the land, And with my lord, who works my veriest good, Wedding a royal house, to raise up brethren Unto my sons? Shall I not cease from wrath? What aileth me, when the gods proffer boons? Have I not children? Know I not that we are exiles from our own land, lacking friends? Thus musing was I ware that I had nursed Folly exceeding, anger without cause. Now then I praise thee, wise thou seem'st to me In gaining us this kinship, senseless I, Who in these counsels should have been thine ally, Have furthered all, have decked the bridal couch, And joyed to minister unto the bride. But we are women, needs not harsher word. Yet evil shouldst thou not for evil render, Nor pit against my folly folly of thine. I yield, confessing mine unwisdom then. But unto better counsels now am come. Children, my children, hither, leave the house. Enter Children. Come forth, salute your father, and with me bid him farewell. Be reconciled to friends, ye, with your mother, from the hate o'erpast. Truce is between us, rancour hath given place. Clasp ye his right hand, woe for ambushed ills. I am haunted by the shadow of hidden things. Ah, children, will ye thus, through many a year living, still reach him loving arms? Ah me, how swift to weep am I, how full of fear! Feuds with your father ended, ah, so late, have filled with tears these soft relenting eyes. Chorus. And from mine eyes start tears of pale dismay. Ah, may no evil worse than this befall. Jason. Lady, I praise this mood, yet blame not that. 'Tis nothing strange that womankind should rage When the spouse trafficketh in alien marriage. But now to better thoughts thine heart hath turned, And thou, though late, upon the victor side Hast voted. A wise woman's deed is this. And for you, children, not unheedfully Your sire hath ta'en much forethought, so help Heaven. For ye, I ween, in this Corinthian land Shall with your brethren stand the foremost yet. Grow ye in strength: the rest shall by your sire, And whatso God is gracious, be wrought out. You may, I see, to goodly stature grown, In manhood's prime, triumphant o'er my foes. Thou, why bedew'st thou with wan tears thine eyes, Turning aback from them thy pallid cheek, And dost not hear with gladness this my speech? Medea. 'Tis naught, but o'er these children broods mine heart. Jason. Fear not: all will I order well for them. Medea. This will I: 'tis not I mistrust thy words, But woman is but woman, born for tears. Jason. Why, helpless one, dost make moan over these? Medea. I bear them. When thou prayest life for them, Pity stole o'er me, whispering, Shall this be? But that for which thou cam'st to speech of me In part is said: to speak the rest is mine. Since the king pleaseth forth the land to send me, For me too this is best. I know it well, That I bide not, a stumbling block to thee And the land's lords, whose house's foe I seem. So fare I forth to exile from this land. But, that my sons by thine hand may be reared, Entreat thou Kreon that they be not banished. Jason. Prevail I may not, yet must I essay. Medea. Nay then, thy bride bid thou to pray her sire That thy sons be not banished from this land. Jason. Yea, surely: and, I trow, her shall I win, If of her sister women she is one. Medea. I too will bear a part in thine endeavour, For I will send her gifts unmatched for beauty Of all that men see now, I know by far, A robe fine spun, a golden diadem, Our sons to bear them. Now must an attendant with all speed hither Bring the ornaments. Blessings shall hers be, not one, but untold, Who winneth thee for lord, a peerless spouse, Who owneth ornaments which once the son, My father's father, gave unto his offspring. Take in your hands, my sons, these bridal gifts, And to the happy princess bride bear ye and give: With gifts shall she be satisfied. Jason. But, fond one, why make void thine hands of these? Deem'st thou a royal house hath lack of robes, Or gold, deem'st thou? Keep these, and give them not: For if my wife esteems me aught, My wish will she prefer to treasures, well I wot. Medea. Nay, speak not so: gifts sway the gods, they say. Gold weigheth more with men than words untold. Hers fortune is: God favoureth now her cause. Young is her power: life would I give for ransom Of my sons' banishment, not gold alone. Now, children, enter ye the halls of wealth. Unto your sire's new wife, my lady queen, Make supplication: pray ye be not exiled, Giving mine ornaments. Most importeth this, That she into her hands receive my gifts. Haste ye, and to your mother bring Glad tidings of good success and that she longs to win. [Exeunt Jason and children. End of Part II. Recording by Expatriate in Bangor, Maine. Part III. Of Medeia by Euripides. Translated by Arthur Sanders Way. 1847 to 1930. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Expatriate in Bangor, Maine. Part 3. Chorus. Strophe 1. Now for the life of the children mine hope hath been turned to despairing. No hope any more. On the slaughterward path even now are they faring. The bride shall receive it, the diadem garland that beareth enfolden doom for the hapless mid glittering sheen. And to set the adorning of Hades about her tresses golden, she shall take it her hands between. Antistrophe 1. For its glamour of beauty, its splendor unearthly, shall swiftly persuade her to bedeck her with robe and with gold wrought crown. She shall soon have arrayed her in attire as a bride in the presence of phantoms from Hades uprisen. In such dread gin shall her feet be ta'en, in the weird of death shall the hapless be whelmed, and from doom's dark prison shall she steal forth never again. Strophe 2. And thou, wretch, bridegroom accursed, who art fain of a princely alliance, blasting thou bringest, unknowing, unthinking, of life on thy sons, and thy bride shall to foul death plight her affiance. How far from thy fortune of old art thou sinking? Antistrophe 2. And amid my lamentings I mourn for thine anguish, O hapless mother Of children, who makest thee ready to slaughter thy babes, to avenge thee on him who would lawlessly wed with another, would forsake thee to dwell with a prince's daughter. Enter Children's Guardian with children. Children's Guardian. Mistress, remission for thy sons of exile. Thy gift the princess bride with joy received in hand, and there is peace unto thy sons. Medea. Alas! Children's Guardian. Why dost thou stand confounded mid good hap? Now wherefore turnest thou thy face away, and dost not hear with gladness this my speech? Medea. Woe's me! Children's Guardian. This cry is to the tidings not attuned. Medea. Woe yet again! Children's Guardian. Can I have brought ill hap, unwitting, erred in deeming these glad tidings? Medea. As they are thy tidings. Thee I blame not. Children's Guardian. Why down drooped is thine eye? Why flow thy tears? Medea. Needs must they, ancient, for these things the gods and I withal, O fool, have ill contrived. Children's Guardian. Fear not, thy children yet shall bring thee home. Medea. Others ere then shall wretched I send home. Children's Guardian. Not thou alone art severed from thy sons. Submissively must mortals bear mischance. Medea. This will I. But within the house go thou, and for my children's daily needs prepare. [Exit Children's Guardian. O children, children, yours a city is, and yours a home, where leaving wretched me, dwell shall ye, of your mother I bereft. I shall go exiled to another land, ere I have joyed in you, have seen your bliss, ere I have decked for you the couch, the bride, the bridal bower, and held the torch on high. O me accursed in this my ruthless mood! For naught, my babes, I nurtured you, and all for naught I laboured, travail worn, bearing sharp anguish in your hour of birth. Ah, for the hopes, unhappy, all mine hopes, of ministering hands about mine age, of dying folded round with loving arms, all men's desire! But now 'tis past, 'tis past, that sweet imagining. Forlorn of you, a bitter life and woeful shall I waste. Your mother never more with loving eyes shall ye behold, passed to another life. Woe, woe! Why gaze your eyes on me, my darlings? Why smile to me the latest smile of all? Alas, what shall I do? Mine heart is failing, as I behold my children's laughing eyes. Women, I cannot. Farewell purposes o'erpast. I take my children from the land. What need to wring the father's heart with ills of these, to gain myself ills twice so many? Not I, not I. Ye purposes, farewell. Yet what ails me? Would I earn derision, letting my foes slip from mine hand unpunished? I must dare this. Out on my coward mood, that from mine heart let loose relenting words. Children, pass ye within. [Exeunt Children.
Now, whoso may not sinless be present at my sacrifice, on his head be it. Mine hand faltereth not. O heart, mine heart, do not this deed. Let them be, wretched heart, spare thou the babes. Their dwelling with me shall they gladden thee. No! By the nether fiends that dwell with Hades, never shall this betide, that I will leave my children for my foes to trample on. They needs must die. And, since it needs must be, even I will slay them, I who gave them life. All this is utter doom, she shall not 'scape. Yea, on her head the wreath is, in my robes the princess bride is perishing, I know it. But, for I fare on journey most unhappy, and shall speed these on yet unhappier, I would speak to my sons. Re enter Children. Give, O my babes, give to your mother the right hand to kiss. O dearest hand, O lips most dear to me, O forms and noble feature of my children, blessing be on you there, for all things here your sire hath reft. O sweet embrace! O children's rose leaf skin, O balmy breath, away, away! Strength faileth me to gaze on you, but I am overcome of evil. [Exeunt Children. Now I learn what horrors I intend. But passion overmastereth sober thought, and this is cause of direst ills to men. Chorus. Full oft ere this my soul hath scaled Lone heights of thought, empyrean steeps, Or plunged far down the darkling deeps, Where woman's feebler heart hath failed. Yet wherefore failed? Should woman find no inspiration thrill her breast, Nor welcome ever that sweet guest of song That uttereth wisdom's mind? Alas, not all! Few, few are they. Perchance amid 1,000 one thou shouldst find, For whom the sun of poesy makes an inner day. 2. Now this I say, calm bliss, that ne'er knew love's wild fever of the blood, The pains, the joys of motherhood, Passeth all parents' joy blent care. The childless, they that never prove if sunshine comes or cloud to men with babes, Far lie beyond their ken The toils, the griefs of parent love. But they whose halls with laughter sweet Of children ring, I mark them aye, care fretted, Travailing alway to win their loved ones' nurture meet. 3. One toils with love more strong than death, yet, who knoweth whether he A wise man or a fool shall be, to whom he shall his wealth bequeath? But last, but worst, remains to tell. For though ye get you wealth enow, And though your sons to manhood grow, Fair sons and good, if death the fell To Hades vanishing bears down Your children's lives, what profit is That heaven hath laid, with all else this Upon mankind, this sorrow's crown? Medea. Friends, long have I, abiding fortune's hap, Expected what from yonder shall befall. And lo, a man I see of Jason's train Hitherward coming, and my eager heart Foretelleth him the herald of new ills. Enter Messenger. Messenger. O thou, who hast wrought an awful deed and lawless, Flee, O Medea, flee, nor once leave thou the sea wain Or the car that scours the plain. Medea. Now what hath happed that calleth for such flight? Messenger. Dead is the princess even now, and dead Kreon her father, by thy poisoned drugs. Medea. A glorious tale thou tellest. Thou henceforth art of my benefactors and my friends. Messenger. What say'st? Of sound mind art thou, and not mad? Who, hearing of the havoc of the hearth of kings, Art glad, and hast no fear for this? Medea. O yea, I too with words of controversy Could answer thee. Yet be not hasty, friend, But tell how died they. Thou shouldst gladden me doubly, if these most horribly have perished. Messenger. When with their father came thy children twain, And passed into the halls for marriage decked, Glad were we thralls who sorrowed for thy woes. And straightway buzzed from ear to ear the tale Of truce to old feuds 'twixt thy lord and thee. The hand one kisseth, one the golden head Of these thy sons. Myself by joy on drawn Followed thy children to the women's bowers. Now she, which had our worship in thy stead, ere she beheld thy chariot yoke of sons, aye upon Jason turned her yearning gaze. But then her veil before her eyes she cast, and swept aback the scorn of her white neck, loathing thy son's approach. But now thy lord, to turn the maiden's wrath and spite aside, thus spake: Nay, be not hostile to thy friends. Cease from thine anger, turn thine head again, accounting friends whomso thy spouse accounts. Their gifts receive, and plead thou with thy sire to pardon these their exile for my sake. She, when she saw the attire, could not refrain, but yielded her lord all. And ere their father far from her bower with those thy sons had gone, she took the rich wrought robes and clad herself, circling her ringlets with the golden crown, and by a shining mirror ranged her tresses, smiling at her own phantom image there. Then, rising from her seat, she paced adown the halls with mincing tread of ivory feet, exulting in the gifts and oftentimes sweeping her glance from neck to ankle hem. But then was there a fearful sight to see. Suddenly changed her colour, reeling back with trembling limbs she goes, and scarce in time drops on the couch to fall not on the ground. Then a grey handmaid, deeming peradventure that frenzy was of Pan or some god sent, raised the prayer cry, before she saw the foam white frothing from her lips, or marked how rolled her eyeballs and her face's bloodless hue. Then a scream, unaccordant, long and loud, she shrilled forth. Straight to her father's chambers one darted, and one unto her new made spouse to tell the bride's mischance. And all the roof echoed with multitudinous hurrying feet. And a swift athlete straining limbs had won by this the goal of the six plethra course. Then she from trance, all speechless of closed eyes, awoke. Ah, wretch, with horrible shrilling shriek! For like two charging hosts her agony came. The golden coil about her head that lay 'gan spurt a marvellous stream of ravening fire, while the fine robes, the gift thy children brought, devoured the white flesh of the unhappy one. Upstarting from her seat she flees, all flame, shaking her hair, her head, this way and that, to cast from her the crown, but firmly fixed the gold held fast its clasp. The fire, whene'er she shook her locks, with doubled fury blazed. Then misery vanquished falls she on the floor, past recognizing, save for a father marred. No more was seen her eyes' imperial calm, no more her comely features, but the gore dripped from her head's crown, flecked with blended fire. The flesh flakes from her bones, like the pine's tears, 'neath that mysterious drug's devourings melted. Dread sight, and came on all folk fear to touch the corpse. Her hideous fate had we for warning. But, ignorant of all, her wretched sire, suddenly entering, falls upon her corpse, and straightway wailed and clasped the body round and kissed it, crying: "O my hapless child, what god thus horribly hath thee destroyed? Who maketh this old sepulchre bereft of thee? Ah me, would I might die with thee!" But when from wailing and from moans he ceased, fain would he have upraised his aged frame, yet clave, as ivy clings to laurel boughs, to those fine robes. Then was a ghastly wrestling, for while he laboured to upraise his knee, she strained against him. If by force he haled, then from the bones he tare his aged flesh. At last refrained he, and gave up the ghost, ill starred, who could no more withstand his bane. There lie the corpses, child by aged sire clasped. Such affliction tears, not words, must mourn. And of thy part no word be said by me. Thyself from punishment wilt find escape, but man's lot now, as oft, I count a shadow. Nor fear to say that such as seem to be wise among men, and cunning in speech lore, even these are chargeable with deepest folly. For among mortals happy man is none. In fortune's flood tide might a man become more prosperous than his neighbour. Happy? No! [Exit. Chorus. Meseems the gods with many an ill this day will compass Jason, yea, and rightfully. But oh, the pity of thy calamity, daughter of Kreon! who to Hades' halls hast passed, because with thee would Jason wed. Medea. Friends, my resolve is taken with all speed to slay my children and to flee this land, and not to linger and to yield my sons to death by other hands more merciless. They needs must die, and since it needs must be, even I will give thee death, who gave them life. Up, gird thee for the fray, mine heart. Why loiter to do the dread ill deeds that must be done? Come, wretched hand of mine, grasp thou the sword, grasp it, move toward life's bitter starting post, and turn not craven. Think not on thy babes, how dear they are, how thou didst bear them. Nay, for this short day do thou forget thy sons, thereafter mourn them. For although thou slay, yet dear they are, and I a wretched woman. [Exit Medea. Chorus. Strophe. O Earth, O all revealing splendour of the sun, look down on a woman accursed, or ever she slake the murder thirst of a mother whose hands would smite the tender fruit of her womb. Look down, for she sprang of thy lineage golden, and by terror of men is the gods' seed holden, and the shadow of doom. But thou, O heaven begotten glory, restrain her, refrain her. The wretched, the gory Erinnys, by demons dogged, we implore thee, cast forth of the home. Antistrophe. For naught was the childbirth travail wasted, for naught didst thou bear them, the near and the dear, O thou who hast fled through the pass of fear, from the dark blue clashing crags who hast hasted, speeding thy flight. Alas for her! Wherefore hath grim wrath stirred her through depths of her soul, that ruthless murder her wrongs must requite? For stern upon mortals the vengeance falleth for kin's blood spilt, from the earth it calleth A voice from the gods, and the slayers appalleth on whose homes it shall light. Children's cries behind the scenes. Child 1. What shall I do? How flee my mother's hands? Child 2. I know not, dearest brother. Death is here. Chorus. Ah, the cry! Dost thou hear it? The children's cry! Wretch! Woman of cursed destiny! Shall I enter? My heart crieth, rescue the children from murder drawn nigh. Child 1. Yea, for the gods' sake, help! Sore is our need. Child 2. For now we are hemmed in by the sword's death toils. Chorus. Wretch, of what rock is thy breast? Of what steel is the heart of thee moulded, that the babes thou hast borne with the selfsame hands that with love have enfolded these thou hast set thee to slay? Of one have I heard that laid hands on her loved ones of old, one only, even Ino, distraught of the gods, when Zeus's bride drave her lonely and lost from her home to stray. And she fell, ah wretch, on the brink as she stood of the sea score, guilt of her children's blood dragged downward her feet to the salt sea flood. And she died with her children twain. What ghastlier horror remains to be wrought? O bride bed of women, with anguish fraught, what scathe upon mortals ere now hast thou brought? What manifold bane? Enter Jason. Jason. Women, which stand anear unto this roof, is she within the halls, she who hath wrought dread deeds, Medea, or in flight passed thence? For either must she hide her 'neath the earth, or lift on wings her frame to heaven's far depths, or taste the vengeance of a royal house. How, trusts she, having murdered the land's lords, scatheless herself from these halls forth to flee? Yet not for her care I, but for my sons, whom she hath wronged shall recompense her wrong. But I to save my children's life am come, lest to my grief the kinsmen of the dead avenge on them their mother's impious murder. Chorus. Wretch, thou knowst not what depth of woe thou hast reached, Jason, or thou hadst uttered not such words. Jason. What now? And is she fain to slay me too? Chorus. Thy sons are dead, slain by the mother's hand. Jason. Ah me! What sayst thou? Thou hast killed me, woman. Chorus. Thy children are no more, so think of them. Jason. How? Slew them? Where? Within, without, the halls? Chorus. Open. and thou shalt see thy children's corpses. Jason. Shoot back the bolts with all speed, serving men. Unbar, that I may see this twofold woe, the dead and her with slaughter to requite her. Medea appears in mid air in a chariot drawn by dragons. Medea. Why shakest thou these doors and wouldst unbar, seeking thy dead and me who wrought the deed? Cease this essay. If thou wouldst aught of me, say what thou wilt. Thine hand shall touch me never. Such chariot hath my father's sire the sun given me, a defence from foeman's hand. Jason. O thing abhorred, O woman hatefullest to gods, to me, to all the race of men, thou that couldst thrust the sword into the babes thou barest, and me hast made a childless ruin. Thus hast thou wrought, yet look'st thou on the sun and earth, who hast dared a deed most impious? Now ruin seize thee! Clear I see, who saw not then, when from halls and land barbarian to a Greek home I bare thee, utter bane, traitress to sire and land that nurtured thee. Thy guilt's cursed bolt on me the gods have launched, for thine own brother by his hearth thou slewest ere thou didst enter fair proud Argo's hall. With such deeds thou begannest, wedded then to this man and the mother of my sons. For wedlock right's sake hast thou murdered them. There is no Grecian woman that had dared this. Yet I stooped to marry thee, good sooth, rather than these, a hateful bride and fell, a tigress, not a woman, harbouring a fiercer nature than Tyrrhenian Scylla. But, for untold revilings would not sting thee, in my nature is such hardihood. Avaunt, thou miscreant stained with thy babe's blood! For me remains to wail my destiny, who of my new wed bride shall have no joy, and to the sons whom I begat and nurtured, living I shall not speak. Lost, lost to me! Medea. I might have lengthened out long controversy To these thy words, if Father Zeus knew not How I have dealt with thee and thou with me. 'Twas not for thee to set my couch at naught And live a life of bliss, bemocking me. Nor for thy princess and thy marriage kinsman, Kreon, unscathed to banish me this land. Wherefore a tigress call me, an thou wilt, Or Scylla, haunter of Tyrrhenian shore, For thine heart have I wrung as well behoved. Jason. Ha! but thou sorrowest too, thou sharest mine ills. Medea. O yea, yet grief is gain, so thou laugh not. Jason. O children mine, what miscreant mother had ye? Medea. O sons destroyed by your own father's lust. Jason. Sooth, 'twas no hand of mine that murdered them. Medea. Nay, but thine insolence and thy new forged bonds. Jason. How claim the right for wedlock's sake to slay them? Medea. A light affliction count'st thou this to woman? Jason. So she be wise. In thy sight naught were good. Medea. These live no more. This shall cut thine heart. Jason. They live ah me, avengers on thine head. Medea. The gods know who began this misery. Jason. Yea, verily, thy spirit abhorred they know. Medea. Abhorred art thou, I loathe thy bitter tongue. Jason. And I thine, yet were mutual riddance easy. Medea. How then? What shall I do? Fain would I this. Jason. Yield me my dead to bury and bewail. Medea. Never! With this hand will I bury them, to mountain Here's precinct bearing them, that never foe may do despite to them, rifling their tomb. This land of Sisyphus will I constrain with solemn festival, and rites to atone for this unhallowed murder. But I go unto Erechtheus' land, with Aigeus to abide, Pandion's son. Thou, as is meet, foul wretch, shalt foully die, by Argo's wreckage smitten on the skull. Now thou hast seen this bridal's bitter ending. Jason. Now the Fury avenger of children smite thee, and Justice that looketh on murder requite thee. Medea. What god or what spirit will heed thy request, caitiff forsworn, who betrayeth the guest? Jason. Avaunt, foul thing, by whose deed thy children have died. Medea. Go hence to thine halls, thence lead to the grave thy bride. Jason. I go, a father forlorn of the two sons reft from his home. Medea. Not yet dost thou truly mourn. Abide till thine old age come. Jason. O children, beloved above all. Medea. Of their mother beloved, not of thee. Jason. Yet she slew them. Medea. That thou mightest fall in the net that thou spreadest for me. Jason. Woe's me! I yearn with my lips to press my sons' dear lips in my wretchedness. Medea. Ha! Now art thou calling upon them, now wouldst thou kiss, who rejectedst them then? Jason. For the gods' sake grant me but this, the sweet soft flesh of my children to feel. Medea. No, wasted in air is all thine appeal. Jason. O Zeus, dost thou hear it, how spurned I am? What outrage I suffer of yonder abhorred child murderess, yonder tigress dam? Yet out of mine helplessness, out of my shame, I bewail my beloved, I call to record High heaven, I bid God witness the word, That my sons thou hast slain, and withholdest me, That mine hands may not touch them, nor bury their clay. Would God I had gotten them never, this day to behold them destroyed of thee. Chorus. All dooms be of Zeus in Olympus, 'tis his to reveal them. Manifold things unhoped for the gods to accomplishment bring. And the things that we looked for, the gods deign not to fulfil them. And the paths undiscerned of our eyes, the gods unseal them. So fell this marvellous thing. Exeunt omnes. End of Part 3. Recording by Expatriate in Bangor, Maine. End of Medea by Euripides. Translated by Arthur Sanders Way, 1847 to 1930.